Let's apply to Eastern Oregon University. We'll start at the Oregon Goes to College website. From the College Info menu tab, select Apply to College, and then we'll be taken to a page that has a lot of really great information about the things that we need to do to prepare to apply, including a list of the documents or supporting materials we need to make sure to have available when we submit our application, and some tips how to make that time successful. Because I already know where I'm planning to apply and I've gathered all of the information that I need, including making sure that I've pulled up a tab with the It's a Plan College workbook where I've entered some information about myself that I don't have memorized but I know is going to be on the application, I know I'm ready to go. I'm prepared, and so my next step is to scroll down to the list of all of the colleges in the state. I'm going to choose the Public Universities tab and find Eastern Oregon University link here. Before I click on it, I want to make a note that there is a $50 application fee, and I need to know that I need to be prepared to pay that when I submit my application, or be prepared to follow up immediately with payment or a request for a fee deferral. So I'm just going to keep that in mind as I'm going through this process. I'll click on the Eastern Oregon University link, and that'll take me directly to the university's website where I can find a list of all of the different types of applications that somebody might use to apply. Now, I'm expecting that I will graduate from high school at the end of this year and then immediately enroll the next fall at Eastern. And so I'm going to be a freshman, and I'll use the undergraduate application. When I click on that, I'm taken to a login screen. Now, I've never created a login for Eastern, and so I need to sign up. And that takes me to a page where I need to provide some information, including my first and last name. Now, in this case, we want to make sure that we're using our legal name. So that's the name that's on our transcript, on our birth certificate, on our driver's license if we have one, but our legal first and last name is what we want to use on this sheet. If we have other names that we use and prefer to use, we can share those with the university in some next steps. I'm going to choose an email address to use that I am using for all of my college information, and I'm making sure that it's one that I'm going to check on a regular basis. Okay. And they're asking me to double check for typos, which is good because you noticed that I made a few errors when I was typing and corrected them while I did, but just in case, I want to check to make sure that they're the same, and it looks like they are. And I will create a password here. Now, once I've done this, I will submit that, but I also want to go into my It's a Plan College workbook and add that password information so that I don't forget it. And it told me that in fact I chose a password that doesn't work, and so I need to choose a new one. And so let's try that again. And it seems to be working this time around. If that happens to you, no big deal. Just choose a new password and make sure that you enter the correct password so that you can remember it into your workbook or the It's a Plan College app on your mobile phone or wherever you're keeping your passwords and information. So here I now have an account with Eastern Oregon University, and it says I have not yet started an application. I know that. That's what I want to do, so I'm going to go ahead and click Start a New Application. And I will be, again, doing an undergraduate application. And here's some information about the different types of applications I might be submitting. And again, I am going to be a freshman, so I'm going to choose the undergraduate application here. I am not a returning student, so I will say no. And here I'm choosing my citizenship, and I'm not participating in a student exchange. I have not enrolled in any courses through something like Eastern Promise, But if you have, you'll want to choose yes. I'm going to say no here. But if you have, you'll want to say yes, I have taken classes at EOU through Eastern Promise. And it's going to ask me what kind of application fee I will provide. So I have two choices. I can either pay the fee when I submit my application using a credit card, or I can request to defer my application fee until my start term. And from there, I'll need to provide some additional documents. And so you'll choose the one that is appropriate for you. If you, for example, receive free and reduced lunch, or you used a waiver for any testing, you may qualify for the fee deferral. I'm going to choose the application fee and see where we go from here. Term is, when do I plan to start college? So I'm going to graduate in the summer or spring of 2021. So I will start in the fall of 2021. Now I can start my application. And that's going to take me to a page where they're looking for quite a bit of information. And I can see here on the left-hand side that there are going to be several shorter pages with information that they're going to be asking for. And so I'll just keep an eye on where I am, but I can see that there are, a dozen or so different pages I'll be looking at. So which campus? I plan to be at the main campus. You can choose the one that is correct for you. You can see here on the left-hand side, it's filling in those circles the closer I get to being completed. My plan to major, I'm not 100% certain what I want to major in, so I'm first going to go down and see if there is an undecided option, and there is, and that's the right one for me. But you'll want to choose the one that is accurate for you. But I'm just not quite sure. I really want to explore my options. And I don't have a second option, but you might. And my career objective is, I'm not sure, but I want to help people. And so I'm going to go ahead and type that in there and save and continue. And so again, they've already filled in my legal first name and my legal last name because I used those previously. If you didn't use your legal name when you created your online account, this is your opportunity to change that, and you'll just highlight that and retype that in. But I did that, so I'm going to choose my preferred name here. So this is the name that I would really prefer that they call me. And so that's I'm going to enter that under preferred name. And former first and last names, these are names that if I have legally changed my name, so for example, I was adopted or I got married or some other reason that I legally changed my first name and or my last name, I want to enter those here. I don't have any previous first or last name, so I'm going to leave that blank. But if you have them, you should fill them in. Social Security number is not required to apply to Eastern or to attend Eastern. You can attend the university without having a Social Security number. However, if you are somebody who is planning to apply for federal financial aid, you will be required to provide your Social Security number in order to be eligible for that. And so it makes sense to go ahead and provide your Social Security number at this point. And so I filled that in, my date of birth. And scroll down. Now, for gender identity, I can choose any response that I feel comfortable with, including to not respond. I'm going to go ahead and choose female here. And race and ethnicity, these are optional questions as well. Keep in mind, it's becoming clear to me that these red dots are the dots indicating that a question is required of me. And so I am required to provide some kind of response, but I have, for example, as in the gender identity, the option to choose no response, but I have to make that choice. If there's no red dot, then those are optional questions and I'm not required to respond to them. I'm going to choose to respond to the race and ethnicity questions, however, and so I'm going to choose Hispanic and Hispanic, and press save and continue. Now they're asking me for my mailing address, and again, you can see that this is a required question. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. Now, I can see that it is pretty difficult to see what I'm typing here, but I can make that box a little bit bigger if I need to. And so I went ahead and did that. And that is in Oregon. Now it's asking, is my permanent address the same as my mailing address? In other words, is this where I want actual physical mail to come? For me, the answer is yes. If the answer is no for you, then it's going to pop up a whole nother place where you can add a different address, the one where you want your mail to come to. Actually, no, it's going to ask you for your permanent address, so where you live. So this will be your mailing address, and this will be where you live. But for me, it's the same, so I'm going to go ahead and choose yes. They're asking whether or not it's okay to contact me through text. So this is a question about, is it okay for us to send you reminders about things you need to do to finish your application? Or is it okay for us to send you a message saying, hey, we've made decisions, check your email to know whether or not you've been admitted, those kinds of questions. And so I want to know that as soon as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and say yes. But if you don't want texting, you can say no. They're asking again for my phone number, and this got filled in from my registration for an account, but I can change it if I have a new number. I don't have a home phone that's different from my mobile phone, so I'll leave that blank, but if you have it, you'll just click on that and fill in the answer. And I have not signed a letter of intent for athletics, but if you are an athlete and you've signed a letter of intent to play, you'll want to choose yes. I have not, so I will go ahead and say no. Save and continue. Asking about my citizenship, this is a required question, so I do need to choose the correct answer, or the answer that's correct for me. And for me, that's U.S. citizen or a U.S. national. You'll choose the one that is accurate for you. Native language. This is the language that I grew up speaking, my first language, and for me, that's English. If it's different for you, you'll want to write in the other languages that you spoke from the beginning. Now I'm on to residency information. I am an Oregon resident, and I have been in Oregon for the last 12 consecutive months. And this is one of those questions, what is the continuous presence in Oregon? And that means, how long have you lived here? And if I don't know the answer to that, I've got it written in my workbook or in my app, and I'm going to go down to residency information, and I've already talked to my parents about what's my most recent continuous presence. Now, I was born in Oregon, so I've been here since January of 2003. So I can go back and fill that in with my birth date. But if you moved to the state, you'll want to enter the date that you moved here. I do not have an Oregon driver's license, so I'll say no. But if I did, I would say yes, and then I would have the opportunity to provide information about when I got that. I'm going to continue with no. I have not ever participated in military service, nor do I have a spouse, so I'll say no. Do I file tax returns in Oregon? So I have a job and I file tax returns. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and it's asking, when are the last 2 years that I've filed taxes? And I'm going to go back into my It's a Plan information here, and the last 2 years that I filed taxes were, well, I know 2018 and 2019. And I work at the same place that my mom does, at the Corvallis Diner, and that is in Corvallis. These are questions that help them determine whether or not I can pay in-state tuition at Eastern. Now, because I am because I'm still a student, they're looking for an emergency contact person, and they're asking for my parent or guardian, but it could be somebody else if that makes sense for you, but they're looking for somebody to contact if something were to happen. And so I'm going to choose my mother, whose name is Jennifer, and she has the same address as me, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in the same as I did before. And I don't have her email address, and it's not required, so I'm not going to choose it, but I do have her phone number. And now they're asking about her residency information, because as somebody under the age of 18, I'm required to provide that residency information for my parents as well as for me. And so, did she reside in Oregon? Yes, she has been here since, I'm going to go back and look. She's been in the state of Oregon since May of 1998. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. And again, these are questions about establishing residency to make it possible for me to pay in-state instead of out-of-state tuition. Neither of them are part of the military, and they did file tax returns. And again, it was the years, and I already looked at that from the last time I flipped over, and so I know it's 2018 and 19. And I accidentally just clicked the back button. And so I'm now needing to get back to my application. And that's no problem. I can just scroll down, and I've saved and continued at every stage. So even though I made that mistake, it's no big deal. It's just going to go straight down. And we're back asking about my mother again. I'm going to fill this in really quickly. Okay, like magic, I filled that in again off screen and then back to where I was before. But what you'll notice is that even though I made that mistake, anywhere that I had already saved my application, that part was still there and filled in, and I only needed to fill in the pieces that I hadn't yet saved. So that was the information about my mom. They want to know where she works, and she works at a place in Corvallis, and it's the same place that I work, the Corvallis Diner. And my mom did not complete a 4-year college education, and I don't know about my dad, so I'm going to go ahead and say no. And if I had another parent or guardian that I wanted to provide information about, I could do that by clicking on this button here, and then they'll ask me all the same questions about that parent or guardian. But I don't have one, so I'm going to just skip that and press save and continue. This question, did any immediate family member attend EOU? For me, the answer is no, but if I click yes, you can see it's not going to ask me anything about who they are, so I just need to choose yes or no. And for me, the answer is no. For you, if it's yes, go ahead and choose that and click save and continue. Asking questions about military association, I have none, but if you do, if you are a service member, or if one of your parents is a service member, you'll want to choose the appropriate option. For me, that is none. I'm going to save and continue. Now they want to know where I went to high school, or where I go to high school, because I'm still enrolled, and I'm going to start typing that in. And you'll notice that there are 2 different Corvallis high schools, one in Oregon and one in Montana, and I want to make sure I choose the right one. So I'm going to choose Corvallis High School and check to make sure that it's in Oregon. They're asking for my GPA. I know what that is, and so I will enter it there. And wondering what my approximate graduation date is. Now I know that's going to be sometime in June, and I don't know exactly the day, but I'm going to go with the 9th. and it's going to be 2021. And if I got the date a little bit wrong, that's okay. They're asking for the approximate graduation date. What's most important is the June 2021. Now they want to know what my English, my senior year classes are, so I'm going to go ahead and fill those in now. And this year I'm taking English 4. And again, if you find that you're not able to read all of this and you want to be able to see it, you can come over here and make that box just a little bit bigger and you can see the information there. I am taking a second language this year, and so that is an honors Spanish 4 class. And again, I'm going to make that wider so that you can see that. And I don't have a social studies class this year, but I do have a math class, and so I will enter that. I'm taking pre-calculus. And I am also taking a science class this year, and that's AP Chemistry. So again, pull this open a little if you need to see that. Save and continue. And I can see on the left here that I am almost done. I have just one bit here that is still ready to go. Am I taking any, if I ever been enrolled in a college or a university? And for me, the answer is no. If you have taken any credits or earned any credits while you were enrolled in a college or university, or even not earned credits yet but have been enrolled, you'll want to choose yes. And if you do that, it will very likely ask you in the next round for additional information about where that is. And you'll just fill it out the same way you did the high school information. For me, though, the answer is no, so I'm going to keep that there, and I have not earned any college credits while in high school, but if you had, you'll want to change that to yes. Save and continue. Now here's the option to pay the application fee. And so in order for me to continue, I need to pay my fee and submit my application. And so this is it. This is where we're ready to go. We're going to click the save and review application option. It's going to give us a chance to look over all the information to make sure that it's correct. So let's see that. And it's saving it. It's taking its time to make sure that it's saved. And then it gives me the opportunity to go through and just make any changes. So I want to review that and make any changes in case I have any mistakes, because once I submit, I am indicating that everything is truthful. And then I will click this save and pay, and they'll ask me for my credit card information, and then I'll click the submit your application button. And again, if you had chosen that you were going to use a fee waiver, you would not have a save and pay option, but you would instead be able to provide the information that is necessary for the fee deferral form. And once you've done that, you can say, yay, congratulations, you've applied to Eastern Oregon University. Good job.